and when you lock it, that will move across, which it does. But when you unlock it, it should obviously go the other direction, and it doesn't quite.
You don't have to be ready. You just gotta trust the right. You don't have to be scary. You just gotta follow the light. You're able to be happy. You can do whatever you like.
Hi there guys, you join me in the Mini. I've got it back in the workshop after the car show. Amazing car show, loads and loads of people. I always get the same comment from people that come by. They're always saying, oh, my granddad used to have one of these and he used to go ice racing with it. So I assume somewhere around where I live up here there should be a load of Minis at the bottom of the ocean, I assume, because I don't know where they all are now. And there seem to be loads of people that did ice racing, but there you go. I've got the car back in the workshop because I've got a couple of things I need to do to her. One of them is I need to sort out the central locking kit. I fitted central locking to this years ago. I've not really done a lot to the car for about the last couple of years or so, but I fitted central locking to it, and it doesn't quite work properly. I'll show you what I mean. That's the easiest. It's basically this door, which is here in Sweden is the passenger door, and I've got the remote here, and when you lock it, that will move across, which it does. But when you unlock it, it should obviously go the other direction, and it doesn't quite. So the problem is when you press the button to lock it, it locks it, goes all the way over there as it should do. But to unlock it, when you press the button, it only goes about halfway. So it doesn't actually open this passenger door. You need to push that little extra bit there. So I'm going to take the door panel off and I'll show you what I think is the problem and how I'm going to fix it. So the way this central locking system works is you've got the motor down there that pulls this piece here. There's a piece of metal at the back there, and it pulls that at the bottom, which then pulls that across, and then when you lock it again, it will push it and it pushes that back again. Right, so the difference between the Fiesta locking kit and the Mini locking kit is that, as you can see, the inner door handle goes forward and backwards across the door, and the door handle, the unlock mechanism here, also goes forward and backwards. Now the locking mechanism on the outside is a little button that you press in, so that goes in and out. Now the difference with the Fiesta is that from the lock it's got a pin going up here, so you can attach the motor to that pin and it'll either go up or it'll go down, and that allows it to lock. Now the Mini, it goes that way, so I need to fit it to this bar basically, but you can't fit it to that bar because there's not enough room. You could fit it at the back there on the inside of the door, but there's a glass in the way. So the way that I've done this, and I know a few other people have done it, is that I've put the lock down the bottom there. Now the window doesn't go down that far, so it doesn't get touched by that. And it basically goes across here and it hooks into this piece of metal here, and it's pivoted at this point here. This is just here to give me something to screw into, but it pivots on there, so as you lock it, it basically makes the lock go one way, and when you unlock it, it makes that lever go the other way. Now what's happening is, for some reason, it's not going back again, which is the way outwards. So as you push it out, as it pushes it outwards, it's not going all the way. I did fit some springs to it to see if that would help, but it didn't. Not a lot anyway. A little bit it did, but not a lot. So it doesn't go back again. So what I think the problem is this piece of metal here, is really thin, this one. And what happens is when you push it, when the lock pushes that piece of metal, it pushes it, but it bends it at the bottom. It bends it probably from that pivot point there, so it bends that piece there and doesn't push that along. And we can test it and see what happens if we just lock the door. Like that, and then we press the button. We can see that as you lock it, it moves that bar over, but you can also see it flexing. So even when I lock it, I can see the metal kind of flexing a bit, and then opening again, it flexes, and not enough. So what I think I'm going to do is replace this piece of metal that goes all the way down here with a slightly thicker, stronger piece, and hopefully that will get rid of the flexing in that piece of metal, because it's only about, it's probably about a 1 mil thick piece of metal, that is, and I think it's causing it to flex too much. So we're going to go with something a lot thicker than that. I think I'm going to go with like a 3 mil plate instead, and that should hopefully solve the problem. So let's pull this all apart and we'll see what we can do with it. Right, so this is the piece that I'm taking out of there. As you can see, the new piece that I'm putting in is about twice as thick, so hopefully that's going to stop the flexing problem that I've got with it. The next thing I also want to try is the hole down the bottom there. The hole down the bottom there is massive compared to the piece of metal that's going in there, which I think means that as this moves forward and backwards, it's moving forward and backwards inside that hole. So I want to cut that down to about half that size, really, just enough so that that piece of metal goes in there. I also noticed that the hole in the middle here, which is for the pivot bolt there, is a bit too, as you can see, it's a bit wide for what it should be, really. So that I'm going to make it slightly smaller. The hole where the rivet went in, I think that's fine. I'm going to leave it like that. So I'm going to try now and do these small changes to it, and then we'll test fit it and see if it works. Right, I've been at this now for perhaps a couple of weeks, well, on and off. I mean, I've not been doing it constantly for 2 weeks, and finally I've got it where it now opens all the way. I've had to add this extra spring in it to bring this piece over. For some reason this doesn't want to come over far enough. I don't really know why, but it doesn't. So this spring helps to pull it over. To lock it again works perfectly now. There was a slight problem. There was a slight problem with that, and that is, hopefully you can see that in there, but that lever there, hopefully you can see that in there, but the lever there, the silver lever, that's the one that goes up and down, and basically it's just a slot in a piece of metal, and that little plastic, that little white plastic arm is when you press the button, that unlocks the lock for you. And what was happening was that sliding piece of silver metal wasn't going up and down properly. It wasn't even making it up and down, and what the problem was that little lever just there, I'm hoping you can see all of this, was that little lever down there wasn't going up and down enough, so I had to bend that very slightly to give it the extra few millimeters it needed to actually lock the door. So now it locks and unlocks exactly as it should do. So now I can go over to the driver's side as it is over here, and I can sort out why I can't get out the car from the inside. Okay, so I don't really know what happened, but I put the door panel on and wound the window up and it stopped working. God knows. So I've added this extra spring here. So now when it unlocks, that goes all the way down, as you'd expect. And then when it locks, that extra spring helps it to pull up all the way. And now it locks and unlocks as it should do. So I'm going to try to put the door panel on again, and hopefully it still keeps working. Right, so onto the driver's side door. The central locking works fine on this one, and it's set up as it was when I first installed it. This side has always worked fine. it's not a problem whatsoever. The problem I've got with this one is all of a sudden that isn't doing much, and it doesn't take long to work out what's wrong with it. At the top of the picture there's a little arm, and you can see on there's this rod. Now that rod is supposed to sit on that arm with a hole there, and as you can see, it doesn't. So it doesn't matter how much you pull this handle, it's not connected to the other end. Somewhere in the deep dark depths of the bottom of this door there's a clip. Right, after a bit of fishing I found it. That's the clip. So now somehow I have to try and get my giant fingers in there and attach that clip to that rod, and then I'll have this door opening again, and I can put the door card back on this side as well. So that is all that was wrong with this side, is that little tiny circlip there. Right, so I've now got that clip back on there, and believe it or not, I had a problem getting it out, and the problem was the central locking kit was in the way. And basically, because it's all attached with this rivet in the front there, it means that I couldn't pull that out far enough. So on the end of that there's a clip that goes through the lock there, so I had to take the clip off of that to be able to pull the lock out enough to put that clip back on again, and now I've got to try and get that clip back on the part of there again. So I didn't think I'd have to do much to the central locking on this one, but it's a pain in the bum, so yeah, never mind, it's soon back together again. Right, so I think we're done for this episode. It's a job that I've probably been wanting to do for about 2 or 3 years. This poor Mini's been in hibernation for a couple of years while I've moved house and little other bits and stuff. So I've not really been able to take it out. But well, now I've got it out. It's been to a car show. I've been to a couple of other things with it. But I've also got the central locking working now, which is one of the major things I wanted to do. And I've changed the brake caliper as well. And that was one of the jobs I got to do for the MOT. So now I can get on with getting an MOT on it. Probably won't be this year now. It's getting towards the end of the year, and yeah, I don't really have time for it. So I'm hoping that next summer, hopefully, I'll be able to get this one on the road. I'll be able to drive around in it a bit. It's quite a good fun car to drive. So if you want to see more of the Mini in the future, you want to see more Alice, there's an update coming very, very soon on Alice. And you want to see any more cars that I play about with, press that subscribe button, press the bell so you don't miss anything. Yeah, I'll see you in the next episode. Thanks a lot, and bye-bye.